Please listen carefully.
Well, hello, universe, and welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Kristy Jansen.
And I'm Summers McKay.
And we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to make it one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And now we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, we have guests today-worthy podcast. Today is Thursday, the 17th of September, 2020. Kristy, how are you today?
I'm just peachy. I know, I'm really wonderful. It's now my 7th day in quarantine, and I've gotten into a nice kind of relaxed routine, wake up and do some meditation, do some yoga, listen to the news while doing a walking meditation in the backyard kind of thing.
Wait, back that up. There is no way you can consider listening to the news a walking meditation.
Whatever works.
You might be walking, you might be peaceful. I don't know. I'm not judging your meditative practice, but I have a feeling that some of our meditation gurus, including good old Deepak, would not totally agree with the idea of listening to the news while meditating.
It's about being of the world, but not in it.
Got it. Observing. Well, I had this flood of enthusiasm and optimism and goodness come over me this morning. And I think it was because I had a super good night's sleep. The baby slept solidly, and I had my first good night's sleep in, I don't know, it feels like 11 years. And I woke up this morning really feeling really expansive. Like the Optimist Daily is reaching hundreds of thousands of people. We had 86,000 people go to the site in the last 7 days. It's crazy. People are really excited about drinking lemon water.
And also coffee in their plants.
House plants, lemon water, personal care solutions. Look, we know that at the Optimist Daily, not every day can be about huge tactical financial commitments that we make to change the world. Some days it's just drink lemon water. And I was feeling really good about our show and really good about our partnership and really good about the Optimist Daily today. So I'm on it. I'm with you, even though I'm not meditating while listening to the news. I'm feeling of the world, not in the world. But we have a lot to accomplish today because we have very special guests coming up later in the episode. Kristy, let's just knock out our first favorite headline before we get to our interview with the founders of Viv for Your V.
The headline that I felt like we really had to talk about was our lead story for the day about green burial. This mushroom-based coffin decomposes in the earth. It's from the environment section.
Okay, you're going to take all of our enthusiasm and optimism and goodness, and we're going straight to the dead. Well, and you know what? Seasonally, super appropriate is almost fall.
Almost fall. It is almost Halloween coming up. But death is a part of life. It's part of the life cycle. And we're about to talk about menstruation, which is another part of the life cycle for at least half of the human population. But this is about a company that has developed a mushroom mycelium-based coffin. When you get buried in it, it helps your body decompose and it helps improve the soil surrounding the burial. We've written in the past about human composting and how the state of Washington has now approved that eco-friendly alternative to burial and cremation. You can actually compost your body. Which your human remains are more quickly turned back into soil, which can then be used to grow plants and trees. And it's a greener option compared to traditional burial kinds of techniques where coffin is usually made of toxic metals and can take more than 10 years to break down in the earth. And this option with the mushroom mycelium, it can decompose much more quickly, but it also helps to cleanse the soil and cleanse your physical body as it breaks down from all the toxins that have accumulated in our bones and our skin and our whatever makes us up, right?
Well, before we started recording today, Kristy and I were talking about the experience of death and dying and burial. And for me, I adore cemeteries. I have this weird fascination with walking around cemeteries. In California, we have the California Missions, and A lot of these missions have some of the oldest cemeteries in California. In fact, they go back to some of the indigenous people and the general disruption of indigenous society that the missions played. They also often had burial grounds for folks who converted. And that was part of how the missions were built in California, is that, if you converted to Catholicism, you got to be buried. And I love, love, love cemeteries because I think there's so much history to them. But I have this conflict. Being raised in the Catholic faith, I know that burial is a very common and expected spiritual tradition for a lot of different reasons. But I just fundamentally don't get why cremation isn't just de facto. It just seems so much more efficient. It seems, as much as I love touring old cemeteries, and my favorite is this one in France, but why are there cemeteries? I don't actually get it. Spiritually, I might, cognitively, it just doesn't make sense to me.
But Summers, I mean, you're talking as somebody who's kind of more in a mindset that we are not our bodies. But yes, I think the Christian or the Catholic faith really did connect yourself to your actual physical body. And so the idea of resurrection, you needed to have your body to go to heaven or to go into the next life. And if you didn't, then you were kind of, your spirit was lost. Whereas in like the Hindu tradition, where they believe in reincarnation and your soul, yourself is not located in your body. You wear one body and then you get reincarnated into another one. Right. You are not your body. And so they have the tradition of cremation, and different faiths do it in different ways. And as somebody who's very interested in different cultural patterns, I find how we treat death fascinating. So that's why I really wanted to talk about this story. It's something that we don't like to talk about, especially in America. We are afraid of talking about death, and there's a lot of existential dread around that. But honestly, it is a part of the life cycle, and at our peril, we ignore it.
Yes. We've come a long way from the preservation of bodies in, the Egyptian ancient traditions to mushroom mycelium-based coffins that will help humans decompose faster. So I guess it is achieving more of the efficiency that I seek in this world. But, it's a really fascinating story, and death and dying are such a critical part of conversation that does get missed. For me, Kristy, I think that Sunday is the 20th anniversary of my brother's death. And we have a lot of traditions in our family around honoring the loss of his life. And one of the things we do, and I didn't even mean to do this, but every time a plane goes over, when Brennan was a baby, my little girl, Brennan, I would tell her to wave at Uncle Brennan in the sky. And so now she does it absolutely religiously. Like every time any plane or helicopter flies over, she waves at her Uncle Brennan in the sky. And we happen to live under an airport, so it happens all the time. But I think it'd be interesting as we get into this fall and we get into sort of the Day of the Dead season to explore other ways of honoring death and the dead and, that part of the life cycle. Great article, great choice. And are we ready to move to another part of the life cycle?
I think absolutely. Let's bring on our guests.
All right. Well, guys, we are so excited. Today, our interview is with Viv for Your V CEO and founder Katie D'Asti and COO Izzy Sarofsky. A little bit about the company. I'm going to just read from their About the Company profile. Viv for Your V makes plastic and toxin-free bamboo pads and liners, as well as menstrual cups. Made out of bamboo fiber and corn fiber, their products are 95% biodegradable and break down in 150 days rather than 800 years like other standard pads. Ladies, gentlemen, menstruators, everyone, let's think about this. 800 years for a pad to break down. That's probably somewhere along the lines of the coffins. With their sustainable products, users save 634 pounds of CO2, 9 ounces of plastic, and 607 gallons of water per menstrual cycle. The company has also donated over 4,000 of their sustainable pads to menstruators in need during the pandemic. So, Katie and Izzy, thank you so much for joining the Optimist Daily Update. How are you guys today?
We're doing great. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're very excited to be here today.
Well, have you guys had a chance to look at the headlines from the Optimist Daily today? Anything spark your interest?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned in that wonderful intro, we are all about reducing plastic waste where we can, and we do that within our products, but it really stemmed from doing that in our personal lives. So we saw that Legos was looking to reduce single-use plastic in their packaging, and we absolutely love that. And it is definitely a big step for bigger brands to do. And our packaging itself is eco-friendly. Since our products are eco-friendly, we think it makes a lot of sense. So we love when big brands are following along with the eco-friendly trend.
Okay, so that is a cornerstone of part of what we do at the Optimist Daily is we really honor the big brands that are making good choices because as go the big brands, so goes the rest of business. But you guys, as founders and creators of a business who inherently in the entire base of your business structure is about reducing waste, tell us a little more about how you came to the idea and how you came together as partners to create this phenomenal company.
So it all started, we'll go way back into the beginning idea phase. I was actually a senior in college and I was taking an entrepreneurship class, and I was mainly taking it because it was an elective for my major. Didn't know much about what entrepreneurship was and was really passionate about being more sustainable in my own life. I was doing little things, like bringing my own coffee cup to the coffee shops on campus and trying to not use any single-use plastic, things like that. So I was really passionate about brands that were making an impact in that way and taking little and big steps to do good things for our earth. And I really wanted to create a brand that represented the voice of other women and other menstruators. And so when I looked into more of the menstrual hygiene space, I was realizing how much plastic waste was involved with traditional products. And I didn't even know it, despite the fact that I was having a period, for almost 10 years at that point. And I realized if I wasn't aware of it, there's probably a lot of people like me that were not aware of how much plastic we were using every single month. So was really building the idea on paper and ended up being so passionate about it that I continued after graduation working on Viv full time. And Izzy and I met.
We met through friends, actually, and I just recently moved to Boston after I graduated. Oh, man, it's been a year now, but yes, So I moved to Boston, and I met Katie and watched her grow this company from the ground up, just surrounded around sustainability, eco-friendly products, and I kind of fell in love with it and decided to quit my full-time job and join with her on her journey with Viv.
Izzy, what was your full-time job that you quit?
Yeah, I was in finance and operations with Toyota Corporate. Yeah.
That is
very different.
That's a really big leap, right? The courage to step into entrepreneurship, especially social entrepreneurship, and then even further, menstrual health social entrepreneurship. That takes a tremendous amount of courage to do. How have you guys found support and encouragement in this process? Obviously, the company is doing well. We read an article about you guys on Forbes. What has worked well in this mission-driven business?
I think what we value so much and have since day one is really understanding what menstruators need and talking to our customers. So still we get on the phone every week or monthly with a bunch of our customers to really learn what they want. And they have now been super fans and champions of us, which has been incredible. But we're also really active in this startup ecosystem in the Boston area where we're located. It's been so cool how excited people are to support young founders and entrepreneurs who are trying to bring innovation to the space, but especially innovation that is doing good for the world and is actually going to make a longer impact. We've been getting a tremendous amount of support, both through mentorship and just people wanting to show off and promote who we are. And I think a lot of it's just the story that we tell and the actual things we're working to get out there.
But aside from that, I would say any woman in the startup space really is very supportive of us along the whole way and is just helping us in every step they can.
Definitely.
Well, Kristy, you can kind of weigh in here, but Kristy and I, we kind of have a generational experience as female leaders of a media business. And we have women on our staff who have longer careers than we have, who have experienced more of a misogynistic culture or felt like they had to battle with one another. And then Kristy and I work very, very hard at the Optimist Daily to lead as a equal team, right? Equal
collaborative
team.
We're a collaborative, co-supportive, co-creative team for the Optimist Daily. It's not about competition and stepping on each other's heads, right? It's about lifting each other up.
Has that been an experience that you guys in your founding team, as well as with those who have supported you, kind of what's that been like for you? Because entrepreneurship is traditionally a masculine dominated and pretty aggressive step on each other's business.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's honestly, I think it works so much better in the way that we are very similar in the sense that anyone a part of our team, like you are helping build this company, like you represent Viv, like you are a branch of Viv. It's not about different levels of the company and who's in charge of who. It's like we want everyone to contribute and constantly give ideas. So I think by creating this culture, it's honestly so much more efficient and also gives us a lot more chance to innovate. And so it's honestly unproductive, I think, to have a culture where you're stepping on each other and people feel really stressed or anxious, like just in their workplace because they don't want to let someone down. And by removing any of that, we get a lot more done.
I wonder, Summers, if having a mission-driven company like what Katie and Izzy are talking about with Viv, where your goal is actually to create a good product that's good for the world and good for the people who are using it, if just having that orientation changes the culture to be one of cooperation and collaboration as opposed to just profit-driven bottom line type of that kind of leadership, which I find, I agree with you, it's not productive in the end.
Yeah.
Not sustainable either.
Tell us a little bit about your company trajectory, raising capital, where you're at. Has your mission-driven perspective been an asset for you? And how has that changed how you might be pitching entrepreneurship where others, you know, somebody with a tech gadget or a less mission-driven business might be pitching? What's the difference been for you guys?
It's really fascinating because oftentimes we're pitching to a room of men and a lot of them don't have periods. And so even explaining the product and how it works and the different types of our product line, it can be a bit challenging. And so a great way of doing that is comparing it to things that they understand and know. And by comparing it to like just plastic waste or the environmental impact is how we usually target it, because that's something that anybody can relate to and comprehend that it is an actual problem. So it's definitely been fascinating, even looking at the capital side. We're actually gearing up to start raising some money pretty soon. And at the same time, we're a for-profit business and we have a mission and we're very much a mission-driven business. But sometimes to help people understand that aren't as eco-conscious or don't care as much about the actual impact of businesses, we have to show them how much potential this is and how much the market cares about it and how much our audience truly cares about this product and this brand. Because then if we're speaking a bit more of their language and throwing dollar signs out there of like how much we can scale and grow, then it starts to click, which is a little funny. But
who is your target buyer for this? And do you have a generational sort of experience? Like, what's the target? Who's buying this?
Yeah, so we always say that we're focusing in on young millennials, Gen Zers, and it's the eco-conscious, socially active person, which doesn't necessarily have to fall in those age range. We have been talking to so many customers, and it's just truly those who believe that making small swaps in their life and voting with their dollars can make a big impact. So that's who we're targeting in, but we compare our persona to Viv, and we like to personify Viv as a person and someone that we look up to, but she also very much represents our target audience. So she's a bold activist. She's here to make a change and bring a lot of good into the world, and someone that we look up to as a team, and hopefully all of our customers and the members of our community will look up to. That's kind of how that came about.
Can we talk super specific tactics on the solution that you've created? Tell us the difference between the menstrual products that you are making, where they're made. Basically, what are the elements that go into the manufacturing that do reduce the impact and plastic waste?
Yeah, so our products are actually made of bamboo, which is a much more sustainable crop than cotton, which a lot of our competitors use today in their products. Bamboo grows vertically, not horizontally, so it takes up a lot less land. It uses a lot less water than cotton does, and it's more actually absorbent and softer than cotton is as a product or as a fiber. So it's a lot better of a crop to be using in these products to begin with anyways.
That's fantastic. And then where are you manufacturing? Obviously, I imagine bamboo is not heavily grown in the United States. What's your manufacturing footprint look like?
Yeah, it's really interesting because we are working with some really innovative manufacturers. And whenever we came up with our design, we wanted to find a product that was innovative at its core, not just like throwing our brand name on something that like every other brand is using.
Yep.
So we did some digging and found one tiny manufacturer is innovating the bamboo space, and they're harvesting their bamboo in China, but kind of made all over the place because then our menstrual cups are made elsewhere. And we also have a new tampon offering that we're launching pretty soon that will come from a different manufacturer.
My next question was about the tampon offering, because I imagine adoption for menstrual cups is still a little slow, right? That's something that, generationally needs to be evolved, but the tampons are coming.
Yes, they are. We're looking at releasing those at the end of the year. That's the goal. So we've gotten so much feedback about, of course, wanting tampons, and we as consumers totally understand that and feel the same way too. It was more of understanding that we want to be really cautious of what we put the Viv brand name on.
Absolutely.
And we're not just going to like throw it on anything. So we think we've found someone we're really excited to work for and like truly believe in them and their products. And so we are super excited to get that out into the world.
Kristy, do you want to jump in here? I know you had a few other questions that you had queued up.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with you guys. And I had no idea how much plastic and what a carbon footprint having a period has. I mean, if you think about it, just even the packaging that comes, every tampon is in its own little wrapped plastic. Every pad is its own wrapped plastic. I know you guys operate mostly on a subscription service. So how do you deal with even just the packaging? Have you brought that into the packaging as well?
Yes. Yeah. So what's super cool is that our pad wrappers are actually compostable. So they're just made out of cornstarch, and everything on or in our pads are basically made out of plants in some way. And the actual box that they all come in are recyclable and actually made with a more sustainable ink. So from the moment you're receiving your package, we want to ensure that everything in there is completely up to the par of like the Viv standards that we're setting for ourselves. So, and that's so important. And it's definitely not like an easy feat, but it's something that we want to continue to do even as we continue to scale and have a more like robust supply chain and are shipping even more products. It's like, we're not going to settle and make products with like plastic in them or have packaging that is not what we truly care about.
What I would like for you guys to share with us, kind of a rose and a thorn conversation, but what is your biggest challenge with regards to your business, and what do you need the most support from, whether, it's from the listeners of the Optimist Daily Update or any investors? What support do you need? So what's your biggest challenge and what support do you need? And then lastly, what makes you both optimistic?
Ooh, I love these questions. It's tough. I think our biggest challenge right now is, one, we're working on raising some finances because we just really want to get our brand and our mission out there, and we've done it really organically to date. And now we feel like we're kind of exhausting almost the organic reach, and so that's been really interesting. So our biggest ask, I think, is one, for people to check out our social media and follow us and really engage with our community and what we're trying to build, and be big supporters there, as well as trying our products and tell us what you think about them. We love feedback. Like, we are like, oh my gosh, tell me all your opinions. I will sit there and ask my friends about their periods for like hours.
It doesn't end here. It never ends.
I don't think we go a day without having an in-depth period conversation, like in our household.
It was hilarious.
And then what makes you optimistic? It's a crazy world right now. It's a hard question to ask, right? We are all I'm sure your entrepreneurship has changed because of COVID and everything. So digging deep as entrepreneurs, you have to find optimism, because a pessimistic entrepreneur is not going anywhere. So when you dig deep, what is it that you anchor to? What makes you optimistic? Or even just what makes you optimistic today?
Ooh, okay. I think probably for me, what makes me most optimistic about this is that sustainability and being eco-friendly is the future. It is what everyone is going to end up going into, like Lego, like the headline today. Everyone's going to lean in that direction eventually, and we're just trying to be a headliner for that.
Kind of leading that new revolution among the period care space, we like to say. And it might seem like one small aspect of your life, but if we can inspire others to start being more conscious about the way they consume and the way that what they use on a day-to-day basis, that has a bigger impact than simply like swapping a material in a product.
All right. Well, Kristy, anything else?
I just really appreciate you guys, Katie and Izzy, being here today. I also really appreciate that you're thinking from your own perspective. Like when you're talking about being in front of a room full of men who don't get it and why having a period product would be a useful and potentially fantastic product to bring into the marketplace. I just think it's important to, we all live from our lived experience, and you guys are showing that. I'm optimistic because of you and young innovators like you guys. You're coming up with new ways of relating to your customers. I love your passion, and I just am so supportive of what you guys are doing.
Thank you. That's so awesome.
Well, okay, so give us a quick, where can everyone find you? Where can everyone get their subscription? What are your channels, and what should we get everyone reading and following?
Yeah, most definitely. We are at vivyourv.com, and on social we have Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok, actually. We just got a TikTok account.
We've been holding off on our TikTok, and the team at the Optimist Daily is pushing me to just make it happen. And so I may cave too. I don't even know how TikTok works.
Yeah, we'll support each other on TikTok for sure.
The other thing I love about Viv for V, sorry, I keep mixing it up, about Viv, is you're bringing something which is one of those unmentionables out into it's okay to talk about. I mean, this is part of a body process. That's why I wanted to talk about death. It's part of the life cycle. Having periods is part of the life cycle. It reminds me a little bit of the Poo-Pourri girls. I mean, it's part of our body function, and we have to become less puritanical in our country and just realize that we're people, we're bodies. It's part of what we are. And I think that energy that you guys are bringing in, I think that maybe the younger generations are a little bit less touchy about these kinds of subjects, and I totally celebrate that.
Yeah, we're definitely doing what we can to break down the taboos around periods.
Definitely. And just having conversations like this one and being so open around periods and period care is the first step. And I always encourage people, if they want to work on breaking stigmas in their own life and breaking down those taboos, to engage in more conversations with your loved ones or the people around you, because that just starts to normalize it all.
Yeah.
Well, and normalizing periods and normalizing period care is a huge step in advancement of creating more opportunity all throughout the world. Certainly in the Western world, we have a tremendous amount of equality, but periods themselves can really block menstruators from success elsewhere in the world. And I know that part of the mission of Viv for Your V is to make period care available to everyone. So I'm really excited to support you guys in this journey. Thank you, Izzy. Thank you, Katie, for coming on. We are so excited to have awesome interviews like you guys for the Optimist Daily Update. Kristy, do you want to read us out?
Thank you, everybody, for listening to today's Optimist Daily Update. We promise to continue to share positive, solution-based stories with ideas on how you can all participate in this changing world, like Izzy and Katie have been doing, and ensure it is changed for the good. We promise to cover current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offer you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us.
Please consider becoming an emissary on theoptimistdaily.com, and for just $5 a month, support reader-funded independent journalism. Be part of the solution, changing consciousness and addressing our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Let's keep the Optimist Daily free for all who need it, supported by those who can. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.